there, I just want to let you know that this is one of my oh so late spoiler movie reviews. It was recorded quite a while ago, so please keep in mind that my opinions about this movie are first impressions only, freshly expressed right after watching the film for the first time. If you want access to my full reaction to this movie, feel free to join my membership club. Details about it are in the description box below. Now, back to my spoiler review.
I'm going to start with the negative, all right? Because I want to end off with the positive, and there are a couple of positives that I really appreciated from this movie that I personally have not seen in any other movie, and it's not like I watch a bunch of movies, but I can only speak for, obviously, myself. All right, so first thing that this movie, that just didn't work for me, is that it was shifting tones constantly. It started off, more in a lighthearted sense with Harley and her breakup and her Bridget Jones moments, that's what it kind of reminded me of at the beginning. And then it went a little darker, introducing us to, oh my gosh, forgetting his name. Black Mask, okay? Then it would go back to the silliness with Harley. Then it would go back darker with Black Mask. And then it would get a little dark with Harley. It was just all over the place. It's like as if they wanted to just cram in as much as they could to really keep me entertained as a viewer. And I understand that, but you have to be consistent. Now, it could also be deliberate, because I have to try to be fair, and that's where it's going to lead into the positive. So my comment about the tone, it didn't work for me as a viewer watching it for the first time, but if I chose to watch it from a different perspective, it probably wouldn't have bothered me. And like I said, I will touch on that again. But bigger picture-wise, way too all over the place with trying to go from dark to light, humor, funny, it wasn't consistent. Okay. Second thing is I hate to harp on this, and if you've watched my reactions to similar stuff like this from mainstream media, it shouldn't come as a surprise. And I know for some audiences, it's offensive that I have these perspectives, but, I believe in individual thinking, not in group thought. I'm not one of those follow the hive kind of people. There was so much needless male bashing in this movie. Like, it was needless. And I understand we are right now at a point in our society where there are very vocal feminist groups that really want to prove a point. They want to take down the patriarchy, and they want to sprinkle that message, and more, I wouldn't even say sprinkle. This movie kind of showered it. And I get it, and I try to be respectful and tolerant to a certain level, especially when it gets to the point where I just don't subscribe to that mentality as a woman, as a Black woman. I don't. I don't subscribe to that mentality, so it grates on my nerves when it's just constantly shoved. And I get at certain moments, especially when she wants to make her statement of not feeling dependent on Joker or dependent on any man, right? I get that part. I understand. So it's not like I didn't go into this movie not expecting to see that based on the title alone. But to be honest, if you take a look at the movie as a whole and you look at all the scenes with these women, down to the last frame, 5 women against 100 men, and it just gets tiresome. You can send your message about, man, bad, woman, good, but it doesn't have to be where it overtakes and overshadows the story. And I feel like it kind of did to some degree, and at certain points where I'm just like, it took everything in me not to really roll my eyes and pause and go do something to kind of square off the annoyance I was feeling. I've been very good at holding it in and being tolerant because of, I react to so much things, and I can't just often stop what I'm reacting to because it annoys me, even though viewers can just stop my video and get angry at my reaction halfway through and then start typing away in the comment section. So that hypocrisy is a little weird sometimes for those who get really upset at me for my perspectives and my opinions, and yet they made the choice to turn it off on me. Well, I did not make the choice to turn it off on the actual media I was watching and disagreeing with. But anyway, I digress. Okay, so that's the second thing, too much male bashing, which leads into the characterization of the characters. There was such a focus on making sure that in almost every scene, all the men were clearly shown as unimportant. And so the choices made by the women, not all of them, but the choices made primarily by Harley and the cop, it just seemed nonsensical. It's like they're making that choice to prove that secondary message of men bad, women good. Anyways, I'll leave it at that for now. Let me just summarize it real quick. The tone was all over the place. Too much male bashing that led to making these female characters make choices that's just overly preachy and unnecessary given the circumstances and the context of what I'm understanding in the scene. Okay? All right, so I'm going to shift now to some positives because there's an equal amount. Now, back to the tone thing. If I chose to look at this movie as a reflection of Harley Quinn's chaotic internal turmoil, because her mind's all over the fucking place, right? They're trying to show that according to her subservience, which wasn't forced on her, she wasn't enslaved to him. She chose to be by his side and thrived until she didn't thrive no more. Anyway, but I'm just saying that if I chose to say, okay, I'm going to watch the movie from the perspective of someone who is seeing it through the eyes, which they're trying to show, which I understand. But they just went too overboard. That's why it's still a negative too. They're trying to show her chaotic world through her perspective, and so that's why I can see where everything is so jumbled up and back and forth, because it's a reflection of her chaos within her own mind, right? It's a positive in the sense that if I'm going to look at the movie that way, okay, I could see where a lot of this shifting around back and forth, inconsistencies, tone of light and dark, up and down, which is pretty much, I could go into the mental health aspect of that, but I won't. I can understand, and I think the effort they're trying to show of what a mindset that could be like if it's portrayed in film, I think deserves some credit. All right, second thing that worked for me is I liked some of the characters that was endearing enough for me to be like, haha, I will remember that moment. Haha, I will, I like to meme that section. Like, for instance, I absolutely love that moment where Harley has limited motion and she's just stabbing away. That really made me genuinely laugh. I think the Huntress is one of the most, for the limited screen time that actress got, she definitely did a good job. She made an impression on me. She was very memorable. And second to Harley herself. And that leads me now to the last positive, and that is, I think Margot Robbie's intentions were sincere. I know this movie got completely dogpiled by a lot of critics on YouTube, mainstream critics, and I could see why. I'm not going to say I disagree with them. But at the same time, what I feel she was trying to do in terms of her personal opinions on feminism and all that, which I do not hold. I'll tell you that now, make it clear. I don't hold those opinions, but I respect. There's a difference, okay? Which is not a two-way street, unfortunately. I respect her trying to cater this movie to that audience, but like in all mainstream stuff that's trying to do that, when you try to cater a mainstream-like movie to a minority group, because the group that is very vocal and wanting this message to be prevalent all over the world, they are a minority. They are not a majority. So it's almost like, well, if you're going to make that choice, although bold, and I respect you for trying to expect a majority to care about that message is where it's like, well, I could have told you it was going to fail. But I'm just saying that I feel her intention to try to show these characters from the DC Comics, Canary, Huntress, The little girl Cassandra Cain, I'm not sure about her. I'm a normie. I don't know the comics. I just remember certain characters from the Arrowverse, which I used to watch from season 1. So I understand her trying to bring it to the forefront, as a lot of these women directors and women producers and actresses in Hollywood are trying to do. It's just, again, they seem to forget that the audience that gave life, really, and that kept the comic book industry thriving are not women. And that matters for them to understand. And if you know that it's a male audience that will come and buy tickets, it doesn't help to bash them in your movies. Because it's like, then you bash them in your movies and then you expect them to pay for watching this movie and caring about it and respecting it. That makes no sense. In any case, there you have it. Those are my thoughts about Birds of Prey. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about this movie on your first watch. What are scenes that impressed you, if there were any, and what scenes perhaps disappointed you, especially if you've read the comics, the Harley Quinn comics, or perhaps you've watched the animated features with this character, which I haven't gotten around to and I plan on actually watching at some point. But if you have watched it, let me know, did you feel that this movie highlighted aspects of the animated features that were accurate or inaccurate? I don't mind spoilers on that. Just perhaps put spoiler before you go on with your comment. But I personally don't mind if you want to share it. So overall, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. And until my next oh so late movie review, I'm Asha, tuning out. Peace.
Thanks for watching. Check out my other videos and subscribe. You know you wanna.